You are listening to the USDN on the DFPN.
It's a trap!
What is up, everybody, and welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, where we are for the people, by the people, and of the people. And imagine a world where imagination is limitless, where creativity sparks universes into existence. When a creator emerges with a world that's super crazy, a little weird, and absolutely bursting with energy. Tonight, we are stepping into the electrifying realm of NBolt and meet the mind behind the madness. James, welcome to the United States Department of Nerds, and welcome to the Council of Nerds. For those tuning in tonight who may not know you or may not know your work yet, give us your origin story and how you got into comics.
Well, first of all, good to be here tonight. And I hope you have a little time because it's kind of a long and a little bit of a twisted story. Not super twisted, just a slight veer.
James, we got all the time you need to take to share your story with us. So go ahead and lay it on us.
Well, ever since I can remember, I've always been fascinated by cartoons, and I've always been drawings ever since I was an elementary school student. My interest has always been in art. I'll tell you a little secret. I actually wanted to be a doctor, but found out I was a little too squeamish for that kind of work. Anyway,
it happens to us.
Anyway, I always loved cartoons. My favorite channels was Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. I especially love cartoons. I already said that. My favorite was Ed and Eddie from Cartoon Network, but as much as I love the crazy, off-the-wall, offbeat kind of gross shows, I always had a soft spot in my heart for, how did I put this? The Saturday morning action cartoons, because, well, they felt kind of special compared to the rest. They had a little bit more heart, a little bit more story.
Mm-hmm. Some more substance to them.
Think early 90s, late 90s to early 2000s. Shows like SWAT Cats. To be honest, that's what I compare NBolt to the most in terms of tone.
Mm-hmm. SWAT Cats is out right now with a new comic book on Kickstarter. Did you know that?
Yeah, I just recently discovered SWAT Cats a while ago. Anyway.
Continue your story, James. Let us know.
Anyway, for most of my school life, I've been drawing and making, and eventually I started making my own characters. But I remember one particular class in high school that really sparked something in me, like media and storytelling. I always enjoyed watching that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Episodic or serial. Do I prefer episodic? And while I had to work with several other people, I think that's the most I ever enjoyed a class.
Mm-hmm.
And as I worked my way through college, I focused on a major in integrated arts at the University of Baltimore. When we try to take our art skills and translate them into business, I've had to explain that several times because the program was relatively new when I was going there. So, several years ago, I graduated. And to be honest, after a job search, which didn't pick up anything, then the whole pandemic hit, which put a damper on that, on my
Mm-hmm.
search for employment. It was during those months I actually started creating NBolt in earnest as a digital comic, starting with the first volume. You got the first story. I sent it to you,
Yep.
but there
Loved
are
it.
3 other stories after it: Flaming Bug-Eyed Chimps, Cliche Hero Spirit, and Super Crazy Crime Stoppers. It's been going on for 5 years now, and only recently have I actually printed anything, which I think will give NBolt some more notoriety. And recently, I have actually begun doing freelance work, work for money.
Yep. Yep.
So I feel like that'll help me grow as a creator and a comic artist and a cartoonist.
Oh yeah, that will definitely help you out there.
Actually had a couple more interviews on podcasts before. Well, one podcast, The Solo Nerdbird. And, well, here I am now. Still working and still growing.
That's how we do it. So, James, was there any particular moment in your life that said, like, this is my moment that makes me want to do comic books or to do comics in general?
To be honest, I am a comic artist, but I consider myself more of an illustrator and a cartoonist at heart.
Okay. Okay.
I've always wanted to be
what was that moment like for you? Were you sitting in college and said, like, I'm going to start doing illustrations and art?
Not sure I remember it clearly, but I think it happened a lot sooner than that.
Okay.
When I was still in elementary school and realized I was way too squeamish to be a doctor. I figured
Okay.
I'd have something else in mind, and figured I was really good at drawing. I loved cartoons, and so it just clicked for me.
So, who are some of your early artistic heroes that gave you inspiration to become an illustrator? Was there
And have to
another
be a real
artist
person.
No, it could be
honest,
anybody you want.
To be honest, not a specific person.
Okay.
But there are kind of art styles that I do admire, but they're not, excuse me, exclusive to any specific artist. I mean, there are several artists I do respect that gave me a pretty good, pretty significant love of cartoons, but I don't exactly follow them. Like,
go ahead and tell us who they were.
Well, the creator of my favorite show was Danny Antonucci, Ed, Edd n Eddy, but I never really followed him until I saw him on TV.
Okay.
But I don't really follow that style of off-the-wall surrealist humor.
Okay.
Still love the show, though. I guess what inspired me the most was the Saturday morning action cartoons like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon, and I never really thought much about the creators behind them until I looked them up, and it was still kind of hard to pinpoint who was behind them.
Yeah, I think both of those they're both animated in Japan, correct?
Yeah, they're anime. That's before I knew what the word was.
Okay. So let's jump over and let's talk about this world that you've created in the universe of NBolt. What sparked the concept of NBolt for you?
Well, kind of like the Saturday morning action cartoons, or the kind of show you watch at home after school.
Okay.
That show you watch on a morning, afternoon after school. Might have to think back, but I've had the ideas for characters like this since I was in elementary school, though they'd be unrecognizable now.
Okay.
Well,
So,
you
how
see,
would you describe NBolt as a character to someone meeting him for the first time?
the character himself or
Yeah,
the
no. How would you
series?
describe NBolt, the character? If you were
NBolt,
introducing me to NBolt for the first time, and I've never seen NBolt, how would you describe him to me?
well, NBolt for the most part, well, for starters, NBolt is a nickname for him. His actual name is Nicky Lightling, and I describe him as he's a teenager, about 15, so snarky, kind of lazy, but ultimately and somewhat of a goody little nerd, and an amateur parkour enthusiast.
Okay.
His his power is, I'm not sure if you heard this term before, but it's ergokinesis.
I've not heard it called that. I know it's energy manipulation is how I would know the power, but I like yours better.
Yeah, it manifests as the cyan light and spark when he sparks. He can also absorb energy from other sources and for temporarily, and depending on what kind of energy he absorbs, he can transform himself, like fire or lightning,
Okay.
or ice. He has several other friends with powers too, and they help him.
Tell us about the other characters in your story to go with him. Like who are some of his allies?
Well, I probably should start with these two right here. This is Rocky, and these
Okay,
two
yep.
right here.
Okay.
This is Rocky, and this is Buddy. They're the ones who are with him most of the time.
Yep, I've seen
Sorry,
those two in
friends.
the first issue you sent me.
Yeah. Here they are again on this cover.
Oh, I liked it. I like it.
And you ever played the Kingdom Hearts games?
I have, yes, actually.
Well,
One of my favorites.
Imagine these. They're kind of like what Donald and Goofy are to Sora. They're that to
Okay.
Mickey. They're with him most of the time. Rocky is about a year older than him, and he's more of a tough guy, more of an edge, power, super strength. Buddy is the youngest, around 10, and his power, he's a bigger nerd than Nicky, I'd say. His power are these weird round balls that he manifests.
I can see a lot of influence from Kingdom Hearts in the art that you do, so that's really cool.
Yeah, that integrates probably.
Okay, yeah.
Next here is Annika. She isn't always with them, but she's pretty
And she's the
significant.
delivery girl, right?
Yeah, she was. But she's more than that.
Okay.
She actually has her own power in the later issues.
Oh, nice. So she developed powers too in the later issues?
Yes. And to be honest, she's actually a bit closer to Nicky than Rocky or Buddy. Known him a little bit longer, but not much. But not by much.
Okay.
Her favorite thing to do is pretty much tease Nicky. Sure, you saw that in the first issue.
Yep, I remember that one. So are there any themes or messages that sit at the heart of NBolt and what you're trying to portray through your illustrations?
Well, to be honest, I don't really think there's a hidden theme. But if you find something with it, I'd be glad if people do find a deeper meaning. And sometimes I would like to put a deeper meaning in there. But not all the time. It's mostly just having a fun adventure.
There's nothing wrong with having a good adventure, man. Nothing at all.
Kind of like the old action Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Oh, those were my favorite growing up. Who was your favorite one growing up from Hanna-Barbera?
Probably the Flintstones.
Oh, same. I loved some Flintstones, man.
Yeah, funny.
So what's your favorite weird element that you built into your world so far?
Well, that's a good question. The series is episodic, but there's a very strong continuity.
Okay.
Something that happened in a different issue before could affect the rest of the series.
So you like to do callbacks from earlier issues into later issues?
Yes.
Okay. I like to see that in my comic books. When I'm reading other comic books, I like to see like callbacks to older stuff that happened in earlier issues, and then they're coming back to the new issue as well. I always like finding those little elements hidden, or sometimes not hidden and very obvious in comic books and illustrations.
Okay. And I'd like to explain a little bit more about NBolt.
Okay, please go ahead.
The reason he's actually called into action is because of a series of robots appearing called the Phobos.
Okay.
That's what he fought in the first issue.
Yeah, I remember that. That was some good fights in that first issue.
Thanks. They start popping up everywhere. They learn who's behind it, and to be honest, I actually have them right here.
You gonna show us?
In the poster.
Okay.
This Saliha right here, that's him.
Is he the main? Is he the main robot?
He's not exactly a robot.
Okay. But he's the guy behind the robots.
Yeah, he's not exactly a guy either. His name is pronounced this Nasatis.
Okay. And where did he come from?
You learn later.
Okay, I'll check it out.
He's the main villain, but he's not the only one. There are other villains like Sayat and Ava Vision and Siegel the Collector.
Okay.
So,
and how did you come up with the with your villains and like the names of your villains?
That's a very good question. I kind of think of overworking things that have already existed and just put my own twist on them.
It's a good way to do it.
And to be honest,
can't go wrong with an old classic with a new twist.
And to be honest, I kind of some of the stuff I do is partially inspired by Lovecraftian horror.
That's kind of good stuff right there.
Eldritch abominations. They're kind of some of my favorite things in fiction.
Okay. Now you're speaking our language. We love some good Lovecraftian horror over here. So when did you? So I'm imagining that you started out on paper and now you're doing everything digital. Are there any like what are you using for your digital elements? Are you using your iPad or do you have an actual like one of those electric sketch pads on your desk?
Well, funny you should ask that because I still do paper first before I scan anything in.
Okay, so you're doing the paper and then scanning it into the electronic?
Yes, it's easier for me that way.
Okay. That's how everybody's doing it these days.
Takes longer though, but I like it.
If it works for you, it's what works for you.
I actually do use a drawing pad. I actually had one a while back, but there's some sparky connection, so I had to get a new one for my birthday last year.
Oh, good. At least I got you a new one.
I think a lot of people use Photoshop or Adobe, but I use something a bit. I didn't really have that much money coming in, so I use something called Zera Pro graphic designer. Not sure if you heard of it. You probably
no, I haven't heard of it. I'll have to look into it.
It's kind of a cheaper alternative.
I'm all about cheaper alternatives over here. So let's talk about some of your visual styles. So your style carries a lot of motion and energy. And how did well, no, not that one. So are you drawing your script first? are you doing like the draw first? Or do you kind of like your story and you draw your story?
Well, I definitely don't know how things are going to play out, so yeah, I have to do the script first.
Okay. Okay.
But the script does change as I draw,
Oh,
where I
okay.
feel it's necessary.
So you're going back, like if you get later in the story and you're like, wait, I think this will be better back here, and you go back and redo a panel or two. Is that how you're doing it?
I usually do that before I draw anything else.
Okay.
Go over it again. If I feel like something doesn't fit right, or if I can do something different or better, I change it then. I change it then before I draw. I mean, there have been days I had to erase a panel or two.
Yeah. About how long does it take you to knock out a panel? From start to finish, how long do you think it takes you to do it? Well, we can say a panel or a page. Let's go with the page.
It kind of varies. Once I put some, I can draw by hand 1 page a day, but going over it digitally, that takes a while. And I usually don't. I sometimes do multiple pages at once.
Okay.
And the most recent page that I scan in isn't the one I'll be working on immediately. I'm usually working on pages before that because it takes time. And
so let's talk about like your first escapades of NBolt. And it gives us some hint that there were bigger things coming for him. When you wrote those, what tones or vibes were you aiming for in those earlier episodes?
well, pretty much the same thing. Well, what you start is part of kind of a trilogy. Not the same issues back to back, but part of the same theme. The stone they find at the end, spoiler alert.
Okay.
It's called the OP Ergo 1. In the series, there's the OP Ergo 2 and part 3. But for the most part of the series, it's usually pretty lighthearted, kind of like I mentioned before, Saturday morning action cartoon. Though it can get to SWAT Cats territory pretty quick.
Okay. So is there, when you
However,
oh no, sorry, go ahead.
And specifically issue OP Ergo Part 3, which introduces Nasatis in his true form, it's kind of brutal.
Oh, okay. All right. So when you are drawing NBolt and you're doing his words, do you hear somebody's voice? Like, is there a particular character that you associate his voice with when you are doing his lettering?
Well, there are several characters he's been inspired by over the years. Pretty much fictional characters he's already been inspired by.
Mm-hmm.
His overall personality would be kind of like Mega Man or Sonic the Hedgehog or Sora from Kingdom Hearts.
Okay.
Pretty sure you see some of those influences in there.
Oh yeah, definitely with the Kingdom Hearts. I can definitely see that. So you have teased a little bit that there's a bigger world of NBolt coming. Is there anything that you can share with us from that, or give us a little tease of some of the new characters or villains that you may have upcoming for the NBolt series?
Well, I will say this. I'm on issue 16 now, and I've rotated several villains like Ava Vision and Sayat. How about we also say the Phobos are going to be a reoccurring theme as well.
Okay.
And well, the term mistech. You met Mr. Chambers in the first issue, right?
Yes,
Let's
yes.
start with him. Well, he used to run this a big part of the NBolt mythos, you should say, is the Mistech organization. He actually used to run Mistech, which was dedicated to scientific research and, well, of unconventional sources of power or energy.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, all Mistech was dedicated to mad science. Which is now defunct.
Okay.
And now he's holed up in this factory in Williamsburg selling wonder glue and cryo mouse traps.
It's a horrible thing to be selling right now.
Yeah, he's not exactly pleasant, but he'll help them if they need it.
So do you plan on experimenting with NBolt within other genres, or comedy or horror or sci-fi?
No,
You've kind of got a little mix of some of those, except for the horror, but there's a little sci-fi elements in there, and there were some phony moments in that first issue that you let me read.
exactly. That's the tone I wanted to set for the whole series.
Okay.
Not a big horror fan. Anyone will
Okay.
tell you that. Anyone from elementary school will probably tell you that. I still not, but I'm still a sci-fi guy.
Yeah. So every indie creator has their ups, downs, and breakthroughs. What has been your biggest challenge you faced so far?
Well, the biggest challenge I've been facing is still what I'm facing, getting a bigger audience for my work.
Well, hopefully, coming on the podcast today, I'm going to send you some clips like I had told you earlier. Hopefully, that will help you get a little bit of a larger span of audience that you can enjoy and to enjoy NBolt, because it is a fantastic series that you are working on there.
Thanks.
So, what has been your proudest moment so far?
To be honest, my proudest moment, well, when I actually finished volume 1, the first 4 stories in NBolt.
Okay. That'll do it. That had to be a really good one.
And to be honest, one of my favorite issues was the OP Ergo Part 3, which introduces Nasatis.
Okay. And what was that one such a big impact for you?
Well, Nasatis is actually the master and creator of the Phobos.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
kind of an epic battle. This epic
Okay.
battle occurs, and another reoccurring theme with NBolt is this energy called appearance energy, which Mr. Chambers actually researched when he still ran Mistech and still researches to this day.
Okay. So he's not exactly in the mad science business no more, but he's still keeping his hands at the into it.
Yeah. Yeah. Doesn't have much resources since Mistech fell apart, but he does keep an eye on things.
So I got to ask, if you could give any advice to any new artist wanting to follow in your steps and be in their own illustrator and illustrating their own work and selling their own illustrations, what kind of advice would you give them?
Give me a minute.
Okay, take your time. It's a big question.
Is not sure if this is going to be helpful or hurtful, but there are going to be times when you doubt yourself, when others doubt you. But even when you have those times, there will be times when as long as you keep going and still believe in what you're doing and what you're creating, I believe something good can and will come of it. So bottom line is, just don't give up, even if you have to take a different path.
No, that's sound advice, man. And I think that can be applied anywhere, not just for up and coming artists and creatives, just across the board. I think that's solid advice. So how do you stay motivated for the creative grind? I know if you're like me, I'm up late. I'm constantly, working on my product here. How do you keep yourself motivated to keep going?
Well, for NBolt, I basically have a bunch of ideas for these kids and for these characters, and I actually want to see them brought to life in pen or ink. And sometimes I have a hope that I can actually get an animated series, whether it's NBolt or something else.
Okay.
Actually work on something, or the potential of working something else. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm gonna go from this, but good things have surprised me recently.
Yeah, surprises can be good. So, James, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you on your social media and also where they can read NBolt.
I'll tell you. Mind if I share a couple links in the private chat?
Oh yeah, no, you can do that, and I'll share it with everybody else. You can do that.
You can find me on JRDemery, Instagram.com. Demery James on Facebook. And to read my work, JamesRDemery at Gumroad.com. I'm also on Ko-fi, pretty much the same name.
Okay. And when I repost everything out, all that will be in the description for everybody. It's actually in the description of this video right now. If you click on his Gumroad link, it will take you directly to where you can find his work and read NBolt for yourself. So, James,
don't forget the new issue, Uki Valley Part 1.
And that's issue number 16, correct? Right. Nailed it.
Yes,
issue number 16. So everybody, make sure you follow, support, and share James's work around all your social medias. Let's get him some more follows and get people reading his fantastic work. Indies thrive because of creators like James bringing new worlds to life. James, I want to thank you for coming on tonight and sharing NBolt with us. And if you don't mind hanging out a few minutes after the close, that way we can talk just a little bit more. All right.
All right.
All right, everybody. That has been the USDN podcast tonight, where indie comics come to life. And if you've now been James, you have now been welcomed to the Council of Nerds. And until next time, stay curious, stay creative, and stay nerdy. Everybody have a good night.
It's a trap!
James, thank you for coming.